Cindy Payne come forward and read the Child Abuse Prevention Proclamation. Good evening. Please recognizing Plain April Franklin Hill. Governor Josh Stein also retained at an line. That's by campaign theme. Power by hope. Strength by prevention. This campaign highlighted the importance of working together, create the conditions, and build a stronger future for all. Their NCL Services Director, Dr. Singh, states every child deserves to grow up in a safe, nurturing environment for the future. By ensuring families have the resources, the support, and connections they need before challenges become crises, we can build a stronger North Carolina for all children and families can thrive. What was shared with you during Child Abuse Prevention Month? Our department joined the national effort to reshape the narrative around child maltreatment, prevention, and investing in programs, policies to prioritize children and families. On April 1st, Pinville planting and blue ribbon ceremony was held at the entrance of the courthouse in partnership with county leadership, the health department, the library staff, safe space, court staff, and many others. Okay. I read the proclamation at that time, along with Safe Space Monitoring Attorney Director, which is also the Sexual Assault Prevention Public Information Officer, Mr. James Hicks, was present. He photographed the ceremony and provided information to the Franklin Home. Pinwheels and also blue ribbons were placed at several locations across the county, to include DSS, Health Department building, Franklin Plaza, local libraries, and the courthouse. These signs are nationally recognized symbols for child abuse prevention. You guys may have seen this when you enter the building with blue ribbons and signs. Also, during our department head meeting, we held here, I shared information about child abuse prevention with all the department heads. I recognize the importance of partnerships between the departments in reporting and in responding to abuse and neglect of children across this county. It has to be a partnership. We all have a responsibility. If you see something, say something. Our public information officer, Mr. James Hicks, also took a picture of the county leadership that day with the signs in front of the class. We also provided that information to the Wake Weekly, and we actually published it. Also, over the week on April 4th was Blue Wear Day, which is the nationally recognized day for child abuse prevention. We held that along with a pinwheel planting, a blue ribbon ceremony at our DSS Health Department building, along with Assistant County Manager Scott Hammerline. That's also another nationally recognized event that took place across the United States. Child abuse prevention information is featured on the Child and Family and DSS website for residents to view. I would just say, in conclusion, I would like to recognize the dedication and perseverance of the child welfare leadership and the social work staff who respond to reports of child abuse and neglect 24 hours, 7 days a week. This work is highly stressful, all the secondary trauma, and has a high burnout rate. This is a very good situation we must encounter each and every day. As our number of reports continue to increase, I would ask that you continue to support us in our efforts and our staff during this next fiscal year.
Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Payne. Okay. It's also Emergency Medical Services Week proclamation, and Mr. Scott Parrish is going to come forward.
Good evening, Commissioners. Thank you for allowing us this time to read a proclamation for something that's near and dear to our heart, of course. So, whereas emergency medical services is a vital public service, and whereas the members of emergency medical services teams are ready to provide life-saving care to those in need 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and whereas access to quality emergency care dramatically improves the survival and recovery rate of those who experience sudden illness or injury, and whereas emergency medical services has grown to fill a gap by providing important out-of-hospital care, including preventative medicine, follow-up care, and access to telemedicine. And whereas the emergency medical services system consists of first responders, emergency medical technicians, paramedics, emergency medical dispatchers, firefighters, police officers, educators, administrators, pre-hospital nurses, emergency physicians, trained members of the public, and other out-of-hospital medical care providers. And whereas the members of emergency medical services teams, whether career or volunteer, engage in thousands of hours of specialized training and continuing education to enhance their life-saving skills. And whereas it is appropriate to recognize the value and the accomplishments of emergency medical services providers by designating Emergency Medical Services Week. Now therefore, be it resolved that the Franklin County Board of Commissioners does hereby proclaim the week of May 18 through 24, 2025 as Emergency Medical Services Week with the EMS Strong theme, EMS Week, we care for everyone, and encourages the community to observe this week with appropriate programs, ceremonies, and activities. Proclaimed this 5th day of May, 2025.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
So, thank you.
Y'all do a great job, too.
Yes, you do. Okay, we have one more proclamation that is to be highlighted. It's the National Small Business Week. And I have the honor of reading this proclamation tonight, and it is indeed an honor being part of a small business as well as some others that's sitting up here with me tonight. So, whereas the United States Small Business Administration designates National Small Businesses Week each year to honor the outstanding contributions of entrepreneurs and small business owners across the country. And whereas small businesses defined by the U.S. Small Business Administration as independently owned businesses with fewer than 500 employees serve as the foundation of our economy, fueling innovation, creating jobs, and shaping the vibrancy of our community. And whereas in 2024, small businesses represented 99.6% of all businesses in North Carolina and employed approximately 1.7 million people across a diverse range of industries. And whereas in 2024, 99.9% of all businesses in Franklin County qualified as small business, defined by the U.S. Small Business Administration, with approximately 1,650 of them employing over 11,500 individuals and generating $161,236,082 in wages. And whereas over the past 25 years, small businesses have been responsible for creating nearly 2/3 of all new jobs nationwide, powering both local and national economic growth. And whereas in 2022, North Carolina small businesses exported approximately $40 billion in goods worldwide, showcasing their global impact and competitiveness. And whereas Franklin County proudly recognizes the determination, creativity, and resilience of its small business owners and entrepreneurs, whose passion and hard work contribute immeasurably to the county's economic prosperity and distinctive character. Now therefore, the Franklin County Board of Commissioners does hereby proclaim May the 4th through the 10th, 2025, as Small Business Week in Franklin County, and urges all citizens to join in this observance by supporting and recognizing the vital role of small businesses in our community. Thank you.
David, can I point out also that May is Older Americans Month? It's been Older Americans Month for years and years.
Absolutely.
And since I work with older Americans and the senior citizens of this county, I feel like I need to point it out. Also, I know when I worked, the older Americans were the fastest growing age group population, and I think it still is.
Very good. What is the pleasure of our board for the consent agenda?
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Now, I think they want us to go outside and take a picture with some of the EMS workers and maybe Mr. Payne as well. Okay. Thank y'all for bearing with us for that. Item number 2 on our agenda, comments from the public. This is the time set aside by the Board of Commissioners to allow individuals 5 minutes to address the board on issues concerning the county. Total time set aside for public comments is 30 minutes. First name on the sign-up sheet is Tanya Kelly. Come forward and state your name and address for the clerk, please.
Good evening. My name is Tanya Kelly, 1455 Ronald Tharrington Road. So I'm here to speak in support of a public pool in Franklin County. It's certainly a hot topic right now. It's all over Franklin Times. It's all over Facebook right now. There are plenty of people watching this topic. There are lots of people that are very, very curious on what the outcome of this situation is going to be. Are we finally going to get it after all this time? Plenty, as you can see by the supporters in my matching t-shirts here, feel this lack right now in real time. And they have long since seen the benefits of creating this in our county. I mean, I know what it's like to not have access to a pool within walking distance of my very own house that I grew up in. And no one in my family, in the long history of the Kelly family, has ever been a member of a private pool in this county. And of course, as there is a balance to all things, there are plenty of people in this community that are against it. And I get it, pools are expensive. They're literally like pouring money down a drain. But that doesn't have to be the option for Franklin County's public pool. Another option starts with perspective. Instead of just a pool, let's shift our thinking to a community center with a pool, right? A few exercise machines, some showers, maybe a track, some childcare. But then let's keep thinking. Let's keep expanding this community center idea as not just a place of wellness and fitness and civic engagement. What if our community center dials up its education capabilities to create opportunity? Community centers can create community resilience. We can have a community resilience center. What does a community resilience center in Franklin County look like? A center that prioritizes classes, workshops, and skill building. A resilient center isn't just about being a place to throw a birthday party or learn how to swim, although those things are incredibly important and can and will happen there. But it's also a place that provides additional options in hours and availability and location for job training, resume building, and extremely important technology access for those small business owners. This center can produce food. It can teach skills and provide purpose for those looking for it through a community garden. Not to even mention the actual jobs that a community center with a pool staffing requires. This center can be a unique place to host events and create artistic and cultural experiences that can draw visitors from not just the inside of our sprawling county to the curious ones living outside the county looking for somewhere new to take selfies. This can be a destination. Destinations can make revenue. A public community pool and center are not luxuries. They are investments in the well-being, safety, and growth of our county. And we urge our county leaders to revisit the 2020 strategic plan they endorsed and finally deliver on this long-promised commitment to the people of Franklin County. This can be a center that improves the workforce in Franklin County through recreational and skill-building programs. So to the community, I urge you to stay tuned to this topic. I urge you all to please interact with the post about the community pool when you see it. Talk to your friends and family. Join the conversation. We are in an exciting place. Let's build something new. And to the commission, the public wants this. We all want this. And we can't wait for you to meet us in the middle and dive right in. Thanks.
Thank you. The next person we have assigned to speak is Tammy Petrosillo.
Tammy Petrosillo, 90 Tanager Farms Drive, Youngsville. So I am speaking tonight on behalf of Franklin County Public School Strong, some of whom have joined me here tonight. Last month, county leadership received Franklin County Schools budget request for the 2025 school year. So the future of that budget now lies in your hands. Over the past 3 years, there has been disagreements at best on the school's budget, but thanks to the voices of our community, the school's budget requests were somewhat met. I say somewhat because the one area that continues to be neglected is capital outlay funding. Last year, the county only funded half of the request, leaving critical needs unmet. Without proper funding, schools are forced to patch repairs instead of addressing facility needs fully. Last year, or this school year, we had 5 Franklin County schools have HVAC units to fail within a very short period, forcing emergency budget requests. HVAC systems are not a luxury, they are a necessity. They are essential to maintaining healthy air quality, regulating temperature, controlling humidity, preventing mold, and they are crucial to providing a safe and productive learning environment. I personally have taught in a classroom that was 85 degrees and unable to open the windows. We took our class outside. Not fun, but it was too hot to be in the classroom. I have taught in a classroom where it was 58 degrees, wearing gloves and a coat. And so I know what it feels like to teach in a classroom when an HVAC unit fails. So when they're not repaired and replaced in a timely manner, the situation often worsens, leading to emergency failures like we just experienced here in our county. So it may very well have been prevented had the capital outlay funding been there, and they could have adequately repaired and replaced these units before we had an epic failure. So delaying repairs does not save money. In the long run, it costs more because one of these units that failed damaged the gym floor. So now that school has to repair and replace that gym floor, which is more money. In years past, just like this budget, the budget request from the school is very detailed, transparent, and carefully constructed. It's lean. There is no fluff or fancy extras in this budget. So the request represents the absolute bare minimum needed to support both daily operation and capital outlay needs. Franklin County Public Schools Strong has been out in the community working closely with the school system and talking to community members, and we have at this point over 200 signed signatures on a petition for funding capital outlay so we can have properly working HVAC units in the schools. So our message is simple. Every teacher deserves to teach in, and every student deserves to learn in an environment that is healthy, safe, and properly functioning facilities. So we are urging you, the county manager, the Franklin County commissioners, to please fully fund the school's operating budget and capital outlay budget request this year with no cuts. We are the 3rd fastest growing county in North Carolina, and we are sitting on a bit of a surplus right now. So there is no reasonable justification to cut at this time. So we are hoping that you will continue to invest into our children's future and hope that you will not shortchange Franklin County's children this year. Thank you.
Thank you. Gary Falk.
I'm Gary Faulkner. I live at 717 Douglas Williams Road, Castalia, which is near Centerville, nowhere near Castalia. I've been before this board numerous times talking once again about transportation issues, US 401, Bickett Boulevard. And I sent an email out a while back warning or advising this board that the NCDOT was once again in a money crunch, and just about every major project we have is basically put on hold. And this county, this board, really needs to sit down and talk with the DOT and figure out what's going on. I understand, I worked with DOT for 30 years, that public transportation funding can be tough, and the gasoline tax personally is not high enough to fund all the projects that are currently programmed. So some serious discussions need to be made with the NCDOT. I'm very glad to see on the agenda the NCDOT State Transportation Improvement Plan. That does need discussing. The other topic is the purchase or proposed purchase of land up on 401 North near Kearney. When last time I spoke, Commissioner Shriver indicated that he couldn't divulge information as to why that property was being purchased and to put trust in the board and to be patient. Well, my patience has about run out on public water issue, and something needs to be done. I have proposed, suggested for years that reservoir system somewhere in the county needs to be seriously considered to help meet our future water needs. I trust in this board, and I am trying to be very patient on the water issue, but we do need to find a resolution of that, come up with a solution. I'm asking you to stay strong, be vigilant, sit down with the DOT. Let's figure out why we can't, over 30, 40 years, get US 401, multi-lane divided all the way to Lewisburg, and get improvements to Bickett Boulevard, where we are seeing daily injuries and loss of life. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Paul.
Thank you.
Christopher Neal.
Chairman Bunn, fellow county commissioners, good evening. The town of Lewisburg several weeks ago passed a resolution in favor of a recreation center and a swimming pool. Now, we did this because the community was asking this. And the town of Lewisburg felt that this was a very important thing for the citizens of Franklin County and Lewisburg. That is why we wrote this resolution in support of a public swimming pool. You know, I've gotten emails from companies that want to come to Lewisburg, and there are questions that they ask. Number one, what is our education system about? What is that? You know, that is one thing that's important in their minds as well for their families, the education system here in Franklin County. Also, they ask about, you know, do we have adequate facilities for business? One business called and asked me, well, they wanted to come to Lewisburg, and the question that he posed, do we have an 80,000 square foot building in Lewisburg? I had to say, no, we don't have that in Lewisburg. But that was another important thing that they were asking about as well. And there's another thing that we did as well. The town of Lewisburg and Franklin County partnered in one of the largest agreements that we have ever had, and that was with the judicial complex. Never before in the history of Lewisburg and Franklin County did the town of Lewisburg and Franklin County came together to make this project a success. Now, I must admit, it was hard. At one point there, we thought that this thing would not materialize. We had citizens that was for and against it. However, we made a bold decision to move forward on this. And I'm sure you guys as well had people voicing opposition to this for you, as well as us. But what we did, we made that bold decision to make it happen. The same thing can happen with a recreational center, a swimming pool. We can do this, but we have to come together basically mentally to do that. Create the will. creating the will, all things can be possible. We can do this. I'm an optimist. Even during the time when we were in negotiations for the judicial complex, there were times when pessimism was all over the place. We even wondered if we were ever going to get it done. But I'm an optimist. We pushed for it, and we succeeded. Again, we can do this for a swimming pool, well, I like to call it a complex, a aquatic center, so to speak, that encompassed a lot more than a swimming pool. Bold decision-making. We can do that. We can make bold decisions. We've just done it. And we can do it again. Former President Franklin Delano Roosevelt said some famous words. And he said, the only thing that we have to fear is fear itself. Change is hard. When you have change, you have fear. Fear of the unknown. But we have to make bold decisions to do that. And once we make this bold decision to bring this together, we will all citizens of Lewisburg, Franklin County, all of us will appreciate what we've done. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Dr. Stover?
Good evening. Before I start, I'd like to point out that about a year ago, the Lewisburg Town Council changed its meeting night so as not to be in conflict with this meeting. And as a result, several of you have attended our meetings, and we appreciate that. And I'm here to return the favor. In the 40-plus years that I have lived and practiced in Franklin County, I have become acutely aware of two self-inflicted, widely held attitudes that have held back progress in this county for better than a part of a century: systemic racism and parochialism. In over 200 years of existence, there has never been a pool in Franklin County where a black child can go swimming, much less learn to swim. As a result of this, a large percentage of our black children do not know how to swim, which probably contributed to the recent tragedy on the Tar River. What I mean by parochialism is that for as long as anyone can remember, there has been very little cooperation among county and municipal governments. On the contrary, it has often been the exact opposite. It is time for us to move past these impediments. I am very proud of the recent negotiation that this board and the Lewisburg Town Council completed. As the mayor just expressed, though we had strong differences, and there are those not happy with the final outcome, we were able to work through those differences and do something that's very rare in politics today: compromise. There is a groundswell of support in this county for a county-run municipal pool, one that is accessible to every citizen. It is time for us to cooperate again. The Lewisburg Town Council has expressed the willingness to work with the county on this project. There are multiple nonprofit organizations in this county who are also interested in this. There is a significant amount of grant money available to support this, and we have a much better opportunity to receive these grants if there is cooperation between the different branches of government and local nonprofits. I recommend that a task force be formed with members from the county and municipal governments and the various nonprofits that are interested in seeing this project through, with a mandate to come up with a workable solution in the near future. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Dr. Stover. Krista Duncan. Okay. Well, we'll skip her and we'll come back to her. Scott Strickland.
All the service, but it's a pleasure to be back and do what we do. As Mark mentioned last meeting about the bun search, we got called out to the tragedy and done a great job doing the search and stuff for the missing child. We just previously done another event Saturday for Lynch Creek. What we do best is go out to communities and help provide safety, park cars, what have you, make sure everybody's well taken care of and not getting too hot, along with the Franklin County Sheriff Department. And I'd like to thank Commissioner Speed for coming out and supporting our group on Saturday. It means a lot to the group. We just finished up since January a very long class, emergency medical responder class. All the students in my group, it was 15 that was left out of there. 7 of them will go test for the state test for the medical responder. And then we'll move on to Frankton to start the emergency medical portion of it, the ones that want to go higher in level. And as I said before, and I appreciate all the support from the board, y'all been great. If we build it, they're gonna come. And by George, we had them out of Warrenton, we had them out of Vance County, we had some out of Raleigh in these classes. And it's great that we're bringing people here to do the stuff that we need. And it's gonna help our EMS system at some point. And so, but we got to keep moving forward. And I still need y'all's support. I'll be talking with y'all about a fundraiser that I want to do. We're trying to get all the details done. And I'm gonna need the support of all of y'all to do this. Because a lot of great things can come out of this. You know, we learned a lot of things with the tragedy on the Tar River, equipment that we need to bring to Franklin County to help us better. You know, it's just a lot of things that this group can do to help our professional responders along the way, because they have a lot to do with the professional job where groups like mine have to fall in, because days and days and days, the 8 days that we spent out there from 6 o'clock to 10, 11 o'clock, some nights, my group stood with it. It was from doing security, keeping people back, while helping put the boats in the water, getting on the boats and going. It's a lot of more training that we need to do for groups like mine. Not only mine, but the other 3 teams in Franklin County. And we're all coming together as one. And that's what it takes. But it's going to take y'all helping me do these fundraisers and getting stuff done. I mean, you know, and y'all haven't failed me yet. And I appreciate it. But number one thing is I want to come tonight and let you know that I'm still here. You know, I got a phone call. Somebody said, hey, they banned you from the county commission? I said, no. I said, I've been in the hospital. I said, I don't think I've done anything for them to ban. I said, but I know I make them mad sometimes, but it's okay. We all human. But the thing is, my heart is here in Franklin County. And we got to keep doing the good of Franklin County. And I thank y'all. I'll be talking to y'all about the fundraising stuff we're going to do pretty soon. And appreciate each and every one of you. But one last thing. I told the last surgery, it was county commission meeting night. The doctor was late doing the surgery. I said, look, doc, I said, if you can't get this done by the time I can get back to my room and get my laptop up to watch the commission meeting, we ain't doing it.
Okay, now, Krista Duncan.
Good evening. I'm Krista Duncan. I live at 834 Duke Valentine Wynn Road in Lewisburg. Before I dive into my main comments today, I have a few important items that I want to just briefly address. First, I have some time-sensitive information and resources to share that I believe will be highly beneficial in improving the overall image and operations of our Animal Services Department. I'm confident that this will pave the way for meaningful progress, and I would be happy to meet with whomever, hopefully sometime this week. As I said, it's time sensitive. Second, I want to reiterate my strong belief that every public meeting held within Franklin County should be accessible to our citizens via live stream. Currently, the only meetings available this way are these commissioners' meetings. Transparency and accessibility are cornerstones of good governance, and it's important that we embrace technology to make it easier for all our residents to stay informed and engaged. Third, I would like to remind this body, and I say this with the utmost respect, that the citizens of Franklin County sit at the very top of the county's organizational chart. They come before the commissioners and the county manager. I bring this up because it is deeply concerning that this body dismissed the idea of a county pool despite clear and growing public support for such a facility. Ignoring the community's expressed interest not only undermines trust in local governance, but it also overlooks the significant social, health, and economic benefits a public pool could provide. Similarly, the slow progress towards achieving several of the county's acknowledged animal services goals for this fiscal year has been a source of frustration for citizens and advocates pushing for change. This sends a strong message that the purpose of holding public office may be more about personal agendas than true public service. It suggests a reluctance to genuinely hear from the taxpayers and residents whose voices matter most. Now, turning to the main topic, I want to bring your attention to the county's 2025 budget and a couple of the intended goals were to prioritize two critical things. One was to focus resources and training to gain efficiency through innovation and technology. And two was the long-term planning to address population growth along with the increasing demand for services. While I cannot speak for every department, I can say with certainty that these goals have not yet been realized with animal services. But here's the good news. We still have the opportunity to turn things around. Transforming animal services requires more than just talk. It demands commitment, decisive action, dedication, accountability, and a willingness to acknowledge the need for change and believe that it is achievable. Do we want our shelter to be a true safe haven for pets? I believe we do. Yet continuing to operate as we have will not lead to the transformation we seek. For example, we were promised the implementation of a volunteer program, an essential component in the success of shelters nationwide. However, the roadblock we've been given repeatedly is liability and legal issues. I find it hard to understand why, after 8 months under new shelter management, this issue remains unresolved. Other government-run shelters across the country have successfully addressed similar liability concerns and happily utilize volunteers. Franklin County's hesitation on this front simply does not make sense. I would appreciate someone in county leadership, if someone in county leadership could shed some light on why this minor but critical problem has yet to be solved and provide us with an estimated timeline for resolution. Our community is eager to finally bring volunteers on board and harness their invaluable support. In closing, I urge this board to recognize that real change in animal services is within our grasp, but only if we are willing to act boldly and collectively. Our citizens and the animals deserve nothing less. Thank you.
Thank you. And that concludes our public comments for tonight. Brings us to item number 3 on our agenda, and that is other business. Is there any other business that needs to be brought before this board tonight?
Yes, sir. I got 2 appointments I'd like to make tonight.
Yes, sir, Mr. May.
I got Kim Saunders for the library board.
Is that a motion?
That's a motion.
Second. Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries.
I got a motion to make William Parrish to the Parks and Recreation Board.
Second. And a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Any other business? Hearing none, we're gonna move on to item number 4, board manager and clerk's comments. Madam Attorney, do you have any comments? Mr. Foy?
Yes, I have a couple items here. I had the honor and the privilege being at the Animal Service Advisory Board meeting back on the 28th, last Monday night of April. Very well attended. We have 9 members, 8 of them were present, which was a big increase for a long time. Went over a couple big issues, was concerned about posting animals on Facebook and other social media so they could be adopted out, and the lack of it happening at our animal services. And part of that, or a lot of that, was due to our short-handedness, and hopefully with hiring on some more people here, we'll be able to get caught up on that part, on getting that posted on Facebook so they can get adopted out instead of euthanized. Another matter that we took out was getting our SOP book updated, going through our existing one and seeing what needs to be added or omitted, and that'll hopefully be forthcoming in the next couple meetings, I hope, on that item. But that was a very well-attended meeting. We had over at the senior center, we had a volunteer recognition ceremony. That was back on the 23rd of April. Went well good. A whole lot of volunteers were there and recognized for their invaluable service they provide to the county. I was at the next day at the senior aging department meeting, going over plans for the 4th annual Fun Day in the Park event that's coming up this next Thursday, May 15th to be exact. That's going to be 10 till 2 down in the Riverbend Park, and that's kind of what these shirts are all about. Everybody's going to have one of these shirts, courtesy of Foy Martin Company. A lot of other goodies, hot dogs, drinks, hats, other things. You have to come down and see what all is going on. I invite everybody here, come down. And one thing I did want to admit, I see this crowd out here, and I'm just seeing it's getting fuller and fuller again. And that's great. I'm glad to see that. A lot of attendance, a lot of turnout. That's good. I like to build it and see people come. And hopefully we'll be forced to one of these days to have a bigger facility or more seating. It would be a great thing there too. And I just wanted to go over a little on the personal side. 2 weeks, tomorrow morning, I went under the knife, had surgery for hernias, ruptures and stuff. Come out of it real good. Thank the Lord for that. And the little lady surgeon over at Nash General, Dr. Warnsby, she did a good job on me. I feel like $1 million because I have had that problem, ruptures and hernias, for about the last 8 or 9 months. And a hernia ruptures don't get better, they get worse. All I can say is, oh, what a relief it was. Right now, everything's going fine. Anyway, that concludes my report. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Foy.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Mr. Davis?
And I'll second Commissioner Foy. It's good to see a room full of people. And to Ms. Duncan's point about the people are at the hierarchy of this organizational chart. And I truly believe that. And I know sometimes you guys may not see exactly all we're doing, or it may not move as fast or whatever it is, but and I'm not going to speak for the entire board, but certainly for myself. The importance of the citizens and y'all's voice and just civil liberties and then individual freedoms that is high on my board, and so I will always try to vote to that. We may not agree all the time, but I do like to see a full room, so that's cool. I missed a couple of weeks ago, so a lot went on. Did get a chance to Commissioner Shriver and myself to greet leadership. Franklin County came in, and if you guys aren't aware of that, I see some younger faces in here, and older, it doesn't matter, but Leadership Franklin County is a great class. I think it's 8 weeks, once a month. You get to tour the county, you get to see the inner workings of local government, you get to see small business, you get to take a tour of the schools, and see that. So if you're not aware of it, it's not a huge time commitment. They usually do it on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, once a month. You go from March to about October. And then each month is something different inside Franklin County. And it's a great learning curve. I graduated from that class last year. I would suggest everybody look into it if you could. And then the last thing, I had the privilege of being for the Miracle League's opening day up at Long Mill Elementary a couple of weeks ago, 2 or 3 Saturdays ago, I guess. And that was really special. They had several baseball games, had a great kickoff. Youngsville Fire Department and Franklin County Sheriff's Department was there, and just to see those kids being able to get out and play baseball or softball was really, really cool. So that's what we got. There's more stuff to it, but we're going to keep moving on tonight. So
Thank you, Mr. Commissioner May.
Yes, sir. I'd just like to thank everybody for being here tonight. Crowd looks good. Thank you.
Commissioner Speed.
No comments tonight.
Ms. Bragg.
You know, he's got, I only had a couple of things. I attended a really, really cool event this time at the Franklinton Park, which, you know, if y'all haven't been to the Franklinton Park, you really need to go over there because that place is amazing. All the things that go on there, there's a lot of events and a lot of things going on. But they had a Earth Day event where they had the middle school kids came. And it was, I think it was sponsored mainly by Novus Nessus. There may be some other sponsors too. But they had all these different stations. It was like a STEM thing. We talk about we don't have STEM in Franklin County. That day it was a STEM event for these children. They had all these little booths set up and all these different things where they could learn all different things about animals, about electricity, about computers, and there were all the booths set up out in the park. That there was a basketball where they could play basketball. That was just, it was amazing to see all the children there. I stayed for a long time because it was just so interesting to watch it and see all the children there and then to go through. It was organized. I said one of the, I think the chamber, the Franklin County chamber, no, it was United Way. United Way sponsored that. And they said, they were like, what do you think? And I was like, I can't believe all these middle school kids are so well organized and behaving. I mean, they were having a good time and they were all so well behaving and all, and it was just a good event. They were all polite too. It was really neat. The other thing I did was, Franklinton has its own Chamber of Commerce. Once a month, they have their business after hours. So this month it was held at the New Bleachers Sports Club or Sports Bar in Franklinton, so I attended that. That's it.
Thank you, Ms. Bragg. Interim County Manager Ryan Preble.
No comments. Thank you, Chairman.
Okay. That brings us on to item number 5, which is closed session. The board is asked to enter into closed session pursuant the following North Carolina General Statutes. NCGS 143-318.11A3, attorney-client privilege communication. NCGS 143-318.11A4, industry and economic development. And NCGS 143-318.11A5, real property purchase, contracts, and leases. What's the pleasure?
Move to go into closed session.
second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
Motion carries. Pam.
Come out of closed session.
We have a motion to come out of closed session. Do we have a second? All in favor, say aye. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
Aye.